So that should be your focal point. When you're wondering what to eat and you're hungry, have something that's a vegetable. Okay? Some fruit, definitely fruit is a very important part of the diet, but you want to make sure that the fruit is not always high glycemic. Okay? And again, there's that the glycemic index information in your paperwork, so you guys can look up that rating. Lots of natural protein. You definitely need at least 3 servings of protein a day to feel good, to have enough energy, to build muscle mass and be a healthy person. But remembering that the protein should be no more than like 5 ounces. You can have a little bit more. It's not an exact science, but ultimately you're looking for that hockey puck size or deck of cards, and it should be natural. Grass-fed beef, natural organic poultry, wild seafood, not farm-raised. Even if it's an organic farm-raised, I'm talking about fish that are stagnant. And by nature, that's not an ideal environment. And so you get a lot of PCBs and other types of toxins that just sit in there and can contribute to illness and inflammation.
How about the poor old egg that's been demonized for years?
The poor old egg that's been demonized for years. You know, that particular very famous study that was performed on eggs that showed that when you ate 2 eggs a day, it created increased cholesterol, was actually a facade. It was definitely a facade. That particular study was repeated over and over and over again and shown that, in fact, that wasn't the case. But ideally, you want to be eating eggs that are natural. They don't have fillers in them. The chickens aren't fed an unnatural diet. You know, some of the eggs now have omegas in them, which is great, another source of, you know, healthy stuff, omega-3s rather. So eggs are fine. You know, if you have elevated cholesterol, it's not because of the eggs you eat. It's because your liver is toxic. Not to say that you need to go to the doctor and get your liver enzymes tested and you say, yes, I'm not saying it has to be at that level. But if you have elevated cholesterol, it's because you need greater health and less inflammation in the body. And by adopting this type of a diet, you can reduce cholesterol and still eat eggs. Okay? But anything that you eat the same every single day is not ideal. It's good to mix it up. You know, meal planning examples for breakfast. You could definitely do scrambled eggs with, you know, some spinach in them and some, you know, maybe cut up avocado and cucumber on the side. That's a great breakfast. You could also do turkey bacon or chicken sausage. You could do a smoothie. You could do lots of things. But just make sure you're getting protein in some capacity. Okay?
What would you use for a smoothie as far as protein goes? Any particular sort of...
There are some protein powders. Again, it's ideal to get things from whole food. A lot of the newer protein powders are made out of pea protein, which is a pretty good source, but it's not ideal.
Oh, that's a good question. I've been trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think eating whole foods is the best.
Yeah.
Most of the times when I make a smoothie, it's a complement to my breakfast. Yeah, but maybe it's too much food, so you sort of stagger it and maybe have a smaller breakfast and then have a smoothie a little later, or vice versa, the order.
Do you have any thoughts on juicing as opposed to making a smoothie? Or?
Well, that's a good question. The difference between juicing and making a smoothie in your blender, they're both really good, and they're both different. So when you juice, you actually extract nutrients out of the vegetable or fruit that is very difficult to extract just by blending it up or chewing. And it's really valuable for detox and health and reducing inflammation. It takes a lot of prep. A lot of cleaning. It does. I've tried it. Some people have the wherewithal to do it. For me, it's really hard with 2 kids and da-da-da-da-da, you know. But if you can do it, it's ideal. For sure, it's a great thing to do. But it doesn't replace using a blender. Yeah, I think that if you use a blender, it's like chewing it really well, right? So there's just benefits to both, you know. And actually, the shake recipe that I gave you, that lovingly named constipation, should be anti-constipation recipe. You're essentially putting in, you know, fruit, vegetables. I mean, a lot of times, like, I'll do, and the ratios are a little off. It says 1.5 cups of fruit and 1 cup of veggies. You could do just 1 cup or 1/2 cup of fruit. It doesn't matter so much. You want it to taste good so that you're going to drink it, right? So I might put in, you know, some water, okay, or ice if you want it to be colder. I might put in some frozen blueberries, maybe 1/2 banana. Then I'll put in maybe a zucchini or cucumber, because those are vegetables that don't have a ton of, like, strong vegetable flavor. They have a lot of water in them. But it's great to get the vegetables in there. I might put in some greens, and then I might put in a little bit of chia seeds or flax seeds, If you're going to do flax seeds, you probably want to put them in the blender first and really grind them up, because then you can get all the oils out of them that are really fabulous. Chia seeds can they're a benefit whether they're ground or whole, so it doesn't matter so much. And then if you have challenges with elimination, with bowel elimination, if you tend to be more constipated, this is a great way to support elimination. But then you can also put in a little bit of olive oil, like a tablespoon of olive oil. That can help the body to eliminate. Probiotics. If you really need it to taste good, or you have a lot of allergies, you can put a little bit of local honey in. Or if you have Manuka honey, that's really good for digestion and GI health. So there's lots of things you can do to make it taste really good and be healthy. But that's a great way to support elimination. Remember, we talked about we can have a healthy diet, but if we're still carrying a lot of toxins inside, that's the other half of the coin. So if we're not pooping regularly, then those toxins are staying inside. So ideally, 1 to 2 times a day. That's kind of the standard regimen, right, of having bowel elimination. So if you're not doing that, or if it's just challenging and strange, you could start to do this shake every day. And that could be like part of your breakfast. Maybe you have it first, and then an hour or two later you have, eggs or turkey bacon or something else. Okay?